everyone. I'm Emily,
And this is Eva,
and you're listening to Speech Talk.
we're your research book club so you can do evidence-based practice in practice.
So let's get talking.
All right, moments from this week, Emily. What happened?
So I was giving the mocha, and you know the part where they're like, name as many F words as you can in a minute. And the person I was evaling is like,
Yeah.
you know, the one. Can I say the one? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. We're all adults here. They go, fornicate. I'm like, okay, that one too. That's also.
It's better than having the F word thrown at you in the context of the mocha.
I know. They asked for permission. It was a cute moment. What about you, Eva? What's
Oh,
your funny moment from this week?
something really hilarious. We have a COVID outbreak.
Oh, that's what? That's not funny.
No, it's not. It is not funny. Everything takes extra long, and I'm constantly like wondering how many times I have to shower when I get home
And you
so
have
that
a
I don't
new
like
baby.
infect my family.
Yeah.
And I've got the baby. I know. Anyways, that's my laugh.
That's a depressing laugh. That is a sniff laugh. It's like, oh, we're sick again. What is
That's
my
right.
life?
Well, I have something to tell you, Emily. It's a confession, something I really learned about myself. I am not a consistent person. I do my recipes differently every time. I can't commit to like one type of scrubs, and my eval notes vary every single time in how well I can describe a patient's swallow function. And I'm not the only person who's inconsistent. I certainly do not agree with how other clinicians are describing my patient swallows when we get like PRN folks in. What we need is standardization. And that is what we're here to talk about today.
Ah. The golden light.
The golden of standardization. I love that.
So the article this week is titled Dysphagia Outcome and Severity Scale, and it was authored by Karen O'Neill, Mary Purdy, Janice Falk, and Janelle Gallo. And you guys have a lot of letters after your name. The
Yeah.
whole
Folk,
alphabet.
that's also an F word.
And the goal of this article was to develop, and yes, we say develop because this article is old as dirt. This is in the 90s. Some of you
From
guys
way
weren't
back in
even born yet.
1999.
I hear that all the
When
time. Like, oh, you were born in the 1900s. Like, yeah, girl, I'm old.
get out of here.
We've been here.
Yes. When dirt was invented in 1999.
I'm older than the internet. That's my favorite thing to tell my kids. I'm older than the internet. Anyways,
Don't even know what that means.
this article, it was developed in 1999 to be a reliable, consistent, and valid assessment based on a need to provide a rationale to prove a need for dysphagia therapy. Because people
Mm.
dying on food is not enough. We have to further prove to the people and the insurance companies that we can do something to help.
We can. That's what I tell myself every day. I'm helpful. I'm helpful. I'm useful. um, they also wanted to include more objective components in the scale in order to enhance rater ability to identify patterns that are beneficial or hindrances to treatment therapy.
It's important because dysphagia is common. About 25 to 45% of our stroke patients have some kind of dysphagia, and about 40% of our nursing home residents do have a dysphagia.
Yeah. And as I like to say, 40 sounds a lot like 50. So close to half.
Which sounds like 60, which sounds like 70.
I know it just keeps
It just
growing when you
keeps
start thinking
growing.
in tens. All right, so we wanted to look into dysphagia scales and the best way to indicate severity because we got to be on the move and we got to be able to put numbers to things to show progress. So, looking at the DOSS, if you haven't heard of it, it's a 7-point dysphagia scale going from NPO through modified diets to full PO that incorporates indicators for nutrition levels, diet texture recommendations, and independence factors. We're going to get into what those mean and why it's such a great tool for clinicians.
So, this is an article I wanted to do because back at my old facility when I was working with trachs and vents and a lot of tube feeds, this was something that I used a lot. It was one of my very first badge buddies. And the more you know, I lost it. So I'm going to remake it for you guys because it was beautiful. But it really helped me categorize my dysphagia patients, right? Not all of my NPO patients were created equal. Not all of my tube feed patients were the same. So I really wanted to look at the nuances of what they were doing, and this number scale made it really, really easy. So the DOSS had really good inter-rater reliability. It was useful for
Oh,
demonstrating.
love interv sorry.
You just love.
I just love it. Sorry. Love inter-rater reliability. So important.
Yeah.
Carry over
Yeah.
matters.
So when all of the raters understand what's going on, it means that we all can talk about something in the exact same way. And we're not like doing guessing games. Everybody wants to be able to say for sure that this person demonstrates X and not have to think about it. Not have to be like, what do you think? Well, what do you think? So that's great. And that again is useful for the third party payers that the patient's therapy is warranted. And while the article doesn't actually say this, we found that looking in depth at how the DOS is structured, it gave us a great way to build goals and develop a plan of care.
So now let's jump into what that 1 through 7 looks like. Number 7, a normal swallow, a normal diet. Going down to number 6. You got some mild issues, but you compensate independently. You may need extra time. I feel like I'm getting a little more old lady Jewish New
Yeah,
York as I
yeah.
get
Where did
down the
that go?
scale.
Where'd that
I don't
go?
know. I don't know. But I'm gonna keep going.
Okay.
I'm gonna swap back into that strange decision I made. Number 5, mild dysphagia. You need distant supervision and maybe one diet restriction. Number 4, mild to moderate. You need intermittent cues, 1 to 2 diet restrictions. You know? Number 3, moderate. You need a total assist, multiple restrictions. I don't know if you guys think this is interesting, but a moderate is a total assist. Number 2, I can't do it
No,
anymore.
keep going. I'm
Moderately
like dying
severe.
over here. Why?
Moderately severe. You need maximum assistance, and you may only tolerate one consistency safely, and one severe NPO. Now, if I had to tolerate one consistent safely, it would be my afternoon glass of wine.
Oh my God, that was wonderful. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
loved
Thank
it.
you.
Oh my gosh. No, that was great. Okay. To not such a perfect accent. So to to recap. 7, totally normal, nothing wrong. 6, you're mod I. Don't need a lot of help. 5, mild. 4, mild mod. 3, moderate. 2, moderate severe. 1, severe NPO.
The number 3, really though, the moderate is interesting, needing a lot of assistance because, I think of somebody who has moderate swallow difficulties. I may see that and go, "Oh man, they need a lot of help." Somebody else might see that and go, there's like a moderate amount of difficulty in the oral phase, but once they swallow it, they're doing fine. So maybe moderate oral dysphagia, and they rate them as moderate. That doesn't necessarily mean that globally, in terms of their function, they're moderate. That sounds way closer to independent using the DOS scale. If they're aware of their moderate oral difficulties and can maybe strategize around it. So, you know, a C in this case, like a grade level C is not average. It's like someone who needs quite a bit of help.
You do need a lot of help on a moderate. Like moderate does sound like, oh, kind of in the middle. It's not too bad. You might need 50%. But when it comes to terms in dysphagia, needing 50% assistance is a lot of assistance.
It's a lot of assistance.
So the scale is determined by an intersection of 3 categories. We have nutrition, diet recommendations, and independence levels. Eva, what does that mean?
So our nutrition, pretty simple. Are they PO or NPO? Can they eat or can they not eat? Their diet recommendations. Can they eat regular or do they need altered consistencies? If so, to what extent? And independence. Can the person cognitively identify the need to alter or learn strategies and decrease their signs and symptoms of dysphagia? We love independence. We love being able to talk about that cognitive intersection because predominantly with our declining folks, that is a lot of times going to be the underlying thing that changes, not just muscle tone and coordination, but awareness of food. Is it coming out of their mouth? Is it still in their mouth? Where's the food?
And what is a good bite size? I've spent, too many sessions saying, "What is a small bite?" And they're like, "I don't know." And take a big old shovel to the face and then
Mm,
keep going. It's like, "No,
love a good shovel to the face.
slow down. Quarter.
Yes.
Nothing bigger than a quarter."
Oh, that's a really good visual metric. I'm going to use that. I always learn something from you, Emily. This is secretly why we hang out.
No, that's always my thing, and if they're, like, really bad, I think it's quarter for normal, and then I go dime if they really need super small bites. Like, we're looking for dime pieces when we're struggling.
Looking for a dime.
So, the article also mentioned an additional factor, which was environment. So, it wasn't one of the levels that they put the scale on, so it's not a testing factor, quote, unquote, but it was taken into consideration for assigning levels. So, environment is the level of supervision the person can realistically expect to have. So, if you have a restorative dining room that provides cueing and assistance and allows that person to stay on a highly super on in a highly supervised environment without you there coaching them all the time, then maybe they can have more access to foods than if everybody is expected to eat alone in their rooms, right? So if their environment is extremely supportive, then they can maybe do more.
And I really like how you phrase that because that's on my mind right now with our COVID outbreak. People who typically have access to the activities room or other shared eating spaces and can have more support. Now, if they want to continue on their diet, they would need one-to-one support, and that's really hard to provide when everyone's essentially on isolation. Not literally, but we're really trying to encourage people to stay in their rooms and avoid common spaces, particularly if they're unmasked, like you would be at meals. So taking that into consideration, this person typically does well with distant supervision, but while we're on, COVID precautions, we should be giving that person more attention or seeing if they need a temporary downgrade just to get through this period where they're alone and they don't have as much access to one-to-one support.
Yeah, and that's such a tricky situation because we can't write an order for that, right?
They would be very long orders like patient on mod I to downgrade to generally moderate needing one-to-one support if left alone in their room during meal times. Like no one's doing that.
In the case of a pandemic, what is this world we live in, honestly? Like, what is this? So after making this beautiful scale, they tested it. They used 135 people varying from no clinical sign of dysphagia to severe dysphagia. The raters were SLPs who had undergone DOSS training. After the training, they were asked to rate the patient's dysphagia on the 7-point scale from MBS study recordings. There were 3 judges who rated participants blindly. Out of the 135 participants rated, 90% were rated on the same scale.
9 out of 10 agreement. That's awesome. Awesome. I don't even agree with myself that often.
And they said the only limitation really was that some of what skewed the raters were the amounts when identifying retention in the oral cavity or the pharynx. So, like, how much was like, is it a trace amount, mild amount? I feel like when we took that MBS course, that was a tricky thing to say. What was trace? What was mild? How much is in there?
Yeah, definitely. The inter-rater reliability is really important. I know that we all have had PRN substitutes, and if they're seeing changes or taking on evals while we're gone, sometimes the way that they are reading the patient's bedside swallow is going to differ from how I would have seen it because people come from different backgrounds. when I am looking at a bedside swallow, I'm looking for general safety. I'm like, if you got some like residue on your tongue or you have a little bit of a gurgly throat, but you can clear it really well independently, it doesn't bother me too much. But other people hear a gurgly throat and they're like, this is serious. We gotta get all up in there. And being able to have something that you can put a number to and define why it is that number because the rating system is so clear, I think really does help that trade-off. And we need to be able to ensure continuity of care. Hard to do if you don't have a standard way of communicating.
Yeah, and I love that to be able to give that to your PRN girls and say, "Hey, if I have a cog patient, base them off of the Mocha or the BCAT or whatever you use. If I have a to swallow patient, base it off the DOSS so that they're not giving you crazy goals." I once had a PRN girl give me 6 long-term goals and 6 short-term goals, and each of the goals were the same and they related exactly to all things. And I'm like, "Friend, I know I needed you, but now I have to redo this whole eval. I don't know how much help this was."
Yeah, definitely. Definitely have had those types of issues.
So this at least can
Um,
give you that basis to say, this is how I need this. This is how I like the goals. So they don't have to put a lot of thought into it either.
mhm. All right, well, let's move into like how this is good for us as clinicians, aside from everything we've just covered. This joint is billable. We all know insurance companies love numbers and to play their part, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are just there to show up, see a patient, and leave. And they're not really looking out for when the patient can come off of therapy. They're not really concerned about if they've maxed out, if there's room for progress. And so people can just keep getting billed. So we want to be able to show when a person is making progress, we're showing an escalation on a scale, and insurers love to see that. We love to see that for our patients. And frankly, it's a good accountability measure.
Yeah, it's so good to be able to say like, look, my patient was a 2 and now they're at a 3 or a 4, or even if it's taking a little bit longer, you can say this person has gained, this amount of independence, progressing them towards this next level. So you can still have those intermediary steps, even if they haven't met like that whole next number. Again, our patients are typically chronically ill and they're not progressing at a super fast rate. So if we are able to say,
No.
this is progress, then this is progress. We can say on a scale, this is how much they're doing better. And I can prove it to you through these numbers.
And always highlighting that to your patient, being like, I know it feels like you've been here for forever and the lights don't always work. So sometimes it feels like it's an endless night, but you're making progress. You went from 5 to 7, or you went from 2 to 6, you know, good job. You're working.
And this is a great tool because it doesn't require anything extra. So when you're completing it, you're doing all of your regular things. You're testing their swallow, you're asking them to cough, you're doing the throat clears, you're giving them those informal cognitive tests. So all of these things you can use to place them on the DOS. Like where exactly are they fitting in on that scale?
Yeah. And to that point about independence in, cognitive function being integrated into the DOS, there's, if they can remember who you are from the beginning to the end, or remember a technique you tell them at the beginning of your evaluation session all the way at the end, this sounds like they're going to be stimulable for strategies, which makes them more functional and more stimulable for therapy. Great prognostic indicator. I'm glad we're learning about that for our patients.
Like we were saying earlier too, so use this to create goals. So not just for your PRN girls, but for yourself too. um, Girls or guys.
Girls or guys. We know it's heavily female field, but there are boys out there.
We see you.
Hey guys.
um, yeah, so you could put it in your goal. So it's moving up. It's giving you that easy basis so you don't have to think about your goal so heavily. If they're a 4, cool. We want them a 5. If they're a 5, cool. What is that next step? What is realistic?
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know how your facility works, Emily, but in mine, we have to do weekly progress notes. So it can feel like, how are we breaking down this overall dysphagia goal? We're going up one scale at a time. And if maybe an entire scale jump isn't easy, we can at least say, hey, we want them to be more independent on a level 6, or we want them to, what else could we say? Go from like 2 to 3 altered diets to 1 to 2. Because of how the scale is structured, it can allow us to make these kind of marginal gains within an overall category.
Yeah. So, for you, our lovely listeners, I will remake my badge buddy. It was so beautiful the first time. I hope it'll be nice the second time. Um, so that you guys can use it. You can put it on your badge or you can keep it at your desk so it's easily referenceable.
Yeah. And remember that this is something we can always talk to our peers about. So if you are the lead SLP, see if you can get your teammates on it. Um, and if you're a PRN SLP, try throwing that into an eval to make things a little more salient for your, in-house SLP when they get back to read your notes on.
This may also be something that you can talk to your facility about, right? Like if the level of supervision is just not well enough, that your patients are getting stuck at a 4 or 5, talk about implementing a restorative dining program. See if we can get some of the STNAs trained on feeding and swallowing compensations to increase safety. Everybody wants to be helpful and everybody like wants to feel smart and needed, and like having your your STNA specialized in your your feeding education only makes like them feel better, the facility feel better. It just, and it looks good. It looks good to have your aides and everybody supporting the residents who live there. It's beautiful.
Definitely. I know my activities lead is always asking me for stuff about communication and dysphagia because he oversees the communal dining areas. He's always like, let me know what I can help out with, what I can keep an eye on. And I check in with him regularly because he does see like 10 residents at a time. And while he's not literally feeding 10 residents at a time, he is able to certainly by the like within a week, let me know if anyone has had any difficulties. So just telling that person, like, hey, these are the types of things we like to keep an eye on. Does it seem like they're having a hard time with their meals? Does it seem like they're not as independent as maybe they were with self feeding? Just let me know what you're seeing. I like that, Emily, that team approach. Ah, you're such a good team.
And you're always making me blush. You're always good with the compliments.
It's I think that time, Emily. I think it's time to wrap up.
Well, until next time, keep your therapy functional and your notes short.
May the force be with you.
Thanks for listening, guys. You've been listening to Speech Talk.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to listen to our Research Book Club. Until next time, keep learning and leading with research.
If you like this episode and you want to give us some love, please rate us on your favorite podcasting app. Leave a review and tell the world, because as podcasters, our love language is in positive affirmations.
If you have a research topic you want us to cover, or you have episode comments, clinical experience you want to share, or just want to send us some love letters, send us an email at hello@speechtalkpod.com.
If you want even more Speech Talk content, check out our website at speechtalkpod.com, where you can find all of our resources we made for you, copies of articles covered, and Eva's blog following these topics and more.
We're your hosts, Eva Johnson and Emily Brady.
Our editor and engineer is Andrew Sims.
Our music is by Omar Ben-Zvi.
Our executive producers are Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brook.
To learn about Speech Talk's program disclaimer and ethics policy, verification and licensing terms, and HIPAA release terms, you can go to speechtalkpod.com/disclaimers.
Speech Talk is a proud member of the Human Content Podcast Network.